class. So before we proceed to our topic, please, I want you to introduce yourself, but in a creative way. But if you don't want, please let me know your name.
Good morning, Mom. My name is Lail Andrea Jane Alcantara.
I am Grace Lee Mandanga.
My name is Maria Cheryl M. Gumubat.
My name is Evan Didi Chola.
My name is Rafael Montana.
Bago tayo mag-proceed sa ating discussion, gusto ko rin makilala ang sino. My name is Mary Claire Molar from San Rafael. So, let's start. Our discussion for today is all about communication processes, principle, and ethics. So, this is the lesson 1. But first, let me ask you this. When you hear the word communication, what comes into your mind? So, Leigh?
Communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Every communication involves at least one sender, a message, and a recipient. The transmission of the message from sender to recipient can be affected by huge range of things. Means of sending or receiving information such as phone, lines, or computer.
Okay, class, let's proceed to the continuation of the topic about communication, which is the components of communication process, which is discussed by Lail Andrea J. Alcantara.
So, I am Teacher Lail, and I will be discussing the components of the communication process. Its understanding the communication process may help you become a better communicator. First, what is source?
Source. The source is the sender carefully crafts the message. The sender may be anyone, an author of a book, a public speaker in a special occasion, or even a traffic enforcer.
Third, the channel. The channel is the means by which a message is conveyed. When we answer a phone call, the phone call is the channel. On the other hand, when your parents receive a notification of your absence from school, the channel is a letter. It is the responsibility of both the sender and the receiver to choose the best channel for the interaction. So now let's proceed to the 4 components of the communication. Receiver, Eldon.
Receiver. The receiver is the person who receives the transmitted message. The receivers may be a part of an audience in a public speaking event, a reader of a letter, or a driver who reads road signs. The receiver is expected to listen or read carefully, to be aware of different kinds of sender, to jot down information when needed, to provide a response, and to ask questions for clarification. Thank you.
See the continuation of discussion by Ma'am Lail. Fifth is feedback. Grace Lee.
Feedback. In any communication scenario, a feedback is essential to confirm recipient understanding. Feedbacks like messages are expressed in varied forms. A simple nod for a question of perception is considered a feedback. Thus, feedbacks may be written, spoken, or acted out.
So let's proceed to number 6, which is environment. Mary Claire Molar.
Environment. The place, the feeling, the mood, the mindset, and the condition of both sender and receiver are called environment. The environment may involve the physical setup of the location where communication takes place. The space occupied by both the sender and the receiver includes the objects surrounding the receiver and sender.
So let's proceed to the number 8, which is interference with Eldon Day.
Interference. The interference, also known as barrier or block that prevents effective communication to take place. As I'm Eldon Dave. Earlier, we discussed the components of communication process, and now this is a kind of interference. Who wants to give the kinds of interference? First is psychological. Yes, Ms. Mula?
Psychological barriers are thoughts that hamper the message to be interpreted correctly by the receiver. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Is physical barriers.
Sir,
Yes, Ms. Gurubat?
Physical barriers include competing stimulus, weather and climate, health and ignorance of the community.
Okay, the third is linguistic and cultural barriers.
Sir,
Yes, Mr. Villanes?
linguistic and cultural barriers pertain to the language and its cultural environment. Word may mean another in different cultures.
The last one is mechanical barriers.
Sir,
Yes, Ms. Pamplona?
mechanical barriers are those raised by the channel employed for interpersonal, group, or mass communication. This includes cell phones, laptops, and other gadgets used in communication. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good.
Like teacher grades, earlier, the other teacher discussed the component of communication process. So now, this is the ninth principle of effective communication. Who wants to give one of the nine principles and explain it?
Makes speeches understandable. Fuzzy language is absolutely forbidden as are jargon, fly, cheat, expression, euphemism, and double-speak language.
Andrea explained the first of the nine principle of effective communication, which is the clarity. So we proceed to the second of the nine principle, which is the concreteness.
Ma'am,
James?
concreteness. Reduce misunderstanding message must be supported by fact such as research, data, statistics, or figures. To achieve completeness, abstract words must be avoided.
The ninth principle is the courtesy.
ma'am,
Okay?
courtesy builds goodwill. It involves being polite in terms of approach and manner of addressing an individual.
Let's proceed to the correctness. Let's stand up.
Correct. Layering mistakes in grammar will obscure the meaning of a sentence. Also, the misuse of language can damage your credibility.
Let's proceed to the consideration.
Consideration. Message must be read toward the audience. The sender of the message must consider the recipient's profession, level or education, race, ethnicity, hobbies, interest, passion, advocacy, and age when drafting or delivering a message. I will be continuing the lessons about the ninth principle of effective communication. Number 6. Elder Drake.
Creativity. Creativity in communication means having ability to craft interesting message in terms of sentence structure and word choice.
Mr. Alan Estrada. Now we continue. Number 7. Jakes.
Conciseness. Simplicity and directness help you to be concise. Avoid using likely impression and word that may confuse the recipient.
Okay, number 8. Who will want to answer? Miss Alcantara. Cultural sensitivity. Today, with the increasing emphasis on empowering diverse cultures, lifestyle, sex and race, and the pursuit for gender equality, cultural sensitivity becomes an important standard for effective communication. Be captivating.
Ma,
Similar.
captivating. We must strive to make messages interesting to command more attention and better responses.
Okay, last, this is the last part of our discussion for today. Ethical consideration in communication. Ethics is a product of philosophy that focuses on issues of right and wrong in human affairs. In your own opinion, give us some idea about respect audience.
Respect audience. Respect means doing whatever it takes in advance to learn as much as you possibly can about your audience before you have begin to think about your presentation. Don't make assumptions that what you have to say will be of interest or value to them. Ask them.
Next, consider the result of communication.
Ma,
Miss Pilar.
consider the result of communication. The end result of communication is that it must bring out a response and change behavior. The most important factor is for the sender to communicate his or her ideas clearly. For the receiver to listen with understanding. Messages can be sent to other by two ways of communicating, which is verbally and non-verbally.
Next, number 3. Value 2. Miss Alba. Value 2. By speaking your truth to another person, you are also telling them that you value your relationship with them. When you do share your honest truth, you're demonstrating that you trust them to be able to handle what you are saying and trust that the relationship between you can be a vessel for support and care. Number 4. Use information correctly. Use compliment. Accuracy in communication helps to avoid misunderstanding and conflict. Accuracy in communication is one of the most critical communication. Accuracy is communication puts on the same page. The message is clearly accurately delivered. Okay. The last is do not falsify information. Fake